Hey guys, welcome to me reacting to Game Theory FNAF This Is the End FNAF Ultimate Custom Night. Now, I'm looking at the video page and congratulations to the game theorists on getting #1 on trending. Well, it's #1 on trending as of now, and I say congratulations to them. And I cannot wait to react to this video because I love their videos. I love their content. MatPat is so funny, and including that, just please don't give me copyright on this one because I've been getting copyright on the other ones for reacting to these videos. It's like the whole video, but I'm doing this because I actually love this channel. And yeah, guys, anyways, let's get oh wait, no. Original links in the description. Make sure you go subscribe to the Game Theorist. And anyways, let's get right into it.
Now then, let's
just reacting one of those shirts.
Even though this is part 2 of the timeline, we've still got a lot to cover, so in the words of Phil DeFranco,
let's just jump into it.
When last we left things, we'd covered everything up through the second Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria location. Things like why the missing children's incident must be the first event of the timeline, the identity of Golden Freddy, why Circus Baby's Pizza World has to come earlier in the timeline than most people expect, and a quick review over how Michael Afton is the crying child from FNAF 4. But all of that left us with a big question. If Michael Afton is the crying child who gets himself bit, then how is he able to come back later in the timeline for games like Sister Location and Pizzeria?
Yeah!
Well, this is where the books once again come in to give us the solution that no one would have predicted. You see, at the end of FNAF 4, we get the lines, "We are still your friends. Do you still believe that? I will put you back together." We've never established who speaks those words. Ultimately, the best guess that we had was the puppet. But here's the thing, it can't be the puppet. Based on this, my final and best timeline of events, William hasn't killed Henry's daughter yet. The puppet isn't possessed yet. Instead, that line is more likely coming from William. It's him making a fateful promise to his dead son. I will put you back together. The thing is, he takes that promise a lot more literally than any of us would have ever suspected. He is literally promising to physically put his son back together as a robot. And we know from the final FNAF novel, The Fourth Closet, that William in that story is obsessed with bringing life to these machines. And even more importantly, we know that in Scott's vision of this world, robots who think they're human and don't realize that they're robots is a real thing. A huge twist at the end of the final FNAF novel is that the main character, Charlie, Henry's daughter, is actually revealed to be one of these sorts of robots. And not just a single robot, mind you. Charlie is one in a series of 4 robots. That's what the title of the book is referencing. She was kidnapped and killed by Afton as a 3-year-old girl, and in his grief over losing his daughter, Henry built 4 robotic versions of her, each one slightly older than the last, implanting each version with memories so that she could grow up just like a normal kid. Quote, Charlie would be a baby, then a little girl, and then a sulky teenager, then at last she would be a woman. She would be finished. Perfect. End quote. It's weird, definitely, and it opens up a whole heck of a lot of plot holes in the novel, but I honestly think that this might be what happens to Michael Afton in the game.
Which is why he throws up
during the bite of 83. The survival logbook confirms this over and over and over again. That is locked in. But Michael is literally rebuilt by Afton.
Which is why
by William.
Which is why Michael throws up the things
at... of all, it explains why he doesn't die after getting scooped in Sister Location.
I should be dead, but I'm not.
Why his memory is so foggy throughout the survival logbook, but most importantly of all, why he can only die through fire. Have you ever stopped to consider that? Michael Afton lives through getting himself scooped at the end of Sister Location, but passes on just like all the other animatronics at the end of FNAF 6, when the remnant in his body is burned away. Remember, based on our timeline, William Afton has already seen his daughter die in Circus Baby, and has also probably seen that her spirit possesses the suit. So he knows it's possible for a living spirit to be inside these robots. It actually might be why he sends Michael down to explore Sister Location in the first place.
Father, it's me, Michael. I did it. I put her back together, just like you asked me to.
he knows that Michael's sister, his daughter, is still down there, so he's aware of what she is, and it might be his way of breaking the news to Michael. Hey there, kiddo, there was something I was meaning to tell you, but unfortunately, kinda trapped in a wall right now. So go down into that creepy cellar I have and pay a visit to your sister. She might prompt some really existential revelations. And lastly, consider this. In the bonus cutscenes for Sister Location, Baby establishes that she knows that Michael can't die.
You won't die, you won't die, you won't die.
So she might just recognize that they're one and the same. This insane sounding theory, and trust me, I recognize that it sounds completely bonkers, may actually tie into the mystery of the FNAF 4 box. What's in it? It might actually be Michael Afton's body. Yeah, remember how I just said that in the fourth closet the main character was actually the third in a series of 4 robots? Well, she almost gets herself killed at the end of Book 2, and is discovered midway through Book 3, locked in a box that sounds very similar to the one that appears at the end of FNAF 4. Quote, John moved to a large green chest, the paint almost entirely worn off. There was no lock. John knelt beside it, found the handle, and heaved it open, then shuddered. It's Charlie, he said hoarsely. In the chest. She was locked in a box. That's insane. She was locked in a box. Who knows for how long? Days? Months? End quote. I actually know how long she was trapped in the box. It was 6 months. So anyway, is this definitive proof of what's in the box that Michael Afton is a robot? No. But it's definitely circumstantial evidence, and think about this. Remember that Scott kept the box locked because he was worried that the fan base wouldn't accept the answer to what was inside of it. Well, can you blame him? If he kept a broken robot kid inside of the box, that would probably upset a few people, because at this point in the series, it would literally come out of nowhere. Up to FNAF 4, this was just the story of a creepy, haunted animatronic pizzeria. Nothing about robot kids or anything like that. The last stretch of this series just went into some weird directions.
Yeah.
Anyway, with the bite of 83, Fredbear's Family Diner closes, leaving only Freddy Fazbear's second location, Junior's, a new, larger location with upgraded security in the form of the toy animatronics. But after all the missing children from their last endeavor, Henry wanted to take an extra special precaution to further protect his daughter. He installed an upgraded surveillance system in the form of security puppets, specifically programmed to watch one child, his daughter. As an added nod to where Security Puppet fits into the timeline, Scott very clearly included the puppet's signature gift box as part of the visuals in its minigame in FNAF 6, a box that only occurs in the FNAF 2 location. You can even see what looks to be wanted posters in the back alley, thereby establishing that a crime had been committed in this area previously. William Afton returns, and because he's a prime suspect in the missing children's incident, is not allowed back at the pizzeria. That's why we see him turned away at the door to Junior's. As a result, he's forced to kill Henry's daughter outside, behind the facility. Her soul goes on to possess the security puppet, and she proceeds to give life to all the other lost souls still trapped in the original 5 animatronics. We know this based on the Save Them minigame, where we see the puppet searching for someone to help the dead children lying around the pizzeria. The toy animatronics are standing on stage lifeless, but most tellingly of all, we see the original versions of Foxy, Chica, and Bonnie inactive in the parts and supply room, and yet Freddy is somehow able to freely move around. This shows us that some of the OG animatronics haven't been given gifts, given life yet.
And that's how 2 is before 1.
Instances, we get an Easter egg of Golden Freddy, broken there on the floor, his ghostly self phasing into and out of existence. And that's not all. Get close to him, and for a brief moment you catch a glimpse of a white dot appearing in his eye. Golden Freddy has the spirit of Cassidy already in him, except there are 2 problems. First, he's a spring-lock suit. Unlike the others, he can't freely move around because he's not kept in animatronic mode. Despite the puppet's best attempts, Cassidy will be forever trapped in a suit that is perpetually slumped over. But secondly, the yellow Golden Freddy suit is being kept, like we saw, in the FNAF 4 location. Hence why in FNAF 2 and then onward in the series, he's forced to remain as just a spirit. Afton continues to sneak into the pizzeria disguised as a security guard, using his signature spring-lock suit and crank to kill kids. This prompts the animatronics to get angry and attack anyone in a security guard uniform. As we see throughout the FNAF novels, and as the puppet reinforces in Ultimate Custom Night,
the others are like animals. but I am very aware.
So they're not rationally thinking, which results in night guard turned day guard Jeremy Fitzgerald getting his frontal lobe bit in an event known as the Bite of 87.
Oh!
Henceforth, animatronics are no longer allowed to free roam in the restaurants. In total, another 5 children die in the FNAF 2 location, again shown through the Save Them minigame, before the place is shut down and the toy animatronics get scrapped, since, let's be honest, they were all kind of crap at their job anyway. But more importantly, it's at this point that Afton realizes the power of children's souls. It's here where he first sees the animatronics moving freely, possessed by the spirits of the dead children and activated by the puppets. And here, through the end of the series, his mission changes. He's no longer just killing kids. He's now looking to actively harness that power for himself so he can be immortal. It's a goal that he expresses in the fourth
Really?
closet. Quote, "You killed them. They died in the suits. Their bodies were bound inside along with their souls. The spirit follows the flesh, it would seem, and also the pain. If I wish to become my own immortal creation, my body must lead my spirit to its eternal home." This affects all his future actions in the series, so when the withered animatronics get sent back to the FNAF 1 location for storage and the possible reopening of the pizzeria, William tracks them back to dismantle them and discover their power. This leads to the cutscenes from FNAF 3, where William systematically lures the original animatronics to the back safe room one by one, only to dismantle them. Before, these cutscenes seemed super random. It just seemed like him trying to get rid of the animatronics for reasons. But now, thanks to the novels, we actually know why he did it, to dissect the robots and experiment on them. And it's these experiments that end up producing the Funtime animatronics. One big lingering question mark of the series was the nature of the Funtime animatronics deep underground during Sister Location. How were they alive? Were they possessed by more dead kids? Well, we finally have our answer there, courtesy of Candy Cadet and the Fourth Closet.
Candy Cadet.
Now, back in FNAF 6, Candy Cadet's stories were a bit of a mystery. Each one had to do with 5 things becoming one thing. 5 keys melted together, 5 orphans sewn together to fit into one coffin, 5 kittens sacrificed and then combined to fit into one shoebox. It seemed like it was referring to Ennard, the amalgamation of all the other animatronic parts, but the math was always kinda wonky. Ennard consisted of Baby, Ballora, Funtime Freddy, and Funtime Foxy, which is just 4 animatronics. Maybe if you squinted at it, you would include the Bonnie puppet, but that seemed like a stretch, and as a result, we just weren't quite sure what was going on with those
Funtime
stories.
Chica?
Luckily, the release of the Fourth Closet has cleared this mystery up. Quote, "A single figure stood still amongst the chaos, out of phase with the surroundings. At first it seemed to be a man bent over a table, but as Carlton's head throbbed with waves of confusion, the man became a yellow rabbit, not standing over a table, but over 5 children, tied together as one. He knew exactly what he was looking at. The endoskeletons of the original Freddy's animatronics, welded and melted together, immobile and featureless, and still inhabited by the spirits of the children who had been murdered inside of them so many years ago. Still filled with life and motion and thought, all trapped, all in terrible pain." End quote. So in the FNAF 3 cutscenes, we see William dismantle the animatronics. From there, he melts down their endoskeletons to discover the secret of their everlasting life. He then uses this molten spirit metal, Remnant, to infuse life into his new creations, the Funtime animatronics. Quote again, "The table's surface was glowing orange and the hot metal hissed. William took a syringe from the woman's hand and thrust it into the squirming thing forcefully. He drew the plunger up, holding the needle steady as the syringe filled with molten substance. He staggered back toward the bear. The man again pried open the heavy chest plate of the standing, broken bear, then carefully inserted the syringe he held directly into the chest cavity and began to press the plunger down." What this and the Candy Cadet stories tell us is that the Funtimes weren't just possessed by new kids, they were created from the remnant of the original 5, fused together into one chaotic, confused spiritual mess. Like Ennard said from his original teaser for Sister Location, there's a piece of me in every body. From those experiments, William is able to open Circus Babies Entertainment and Rentals, the underground facility from Sister Location. Using Remnant, he brings life to animatronics specifically designed to lure and trap kids so he can have more test subjects for his experiments. He then rents the robots out to special events and other locations. Why isn't there a Funtime Chica in Sister Location? Simply because she's rented out. We see this hidden in the source code to his website around the time of Sister Location's release. Chica's Party World is a separate location, a client of Afton Robotics, and as such,
Oh.
she's not being kept underground with the rest of them. That's why she's gone, only to then reappear in FNAF 6 and Custom Night. But there was one thing that William Afton didn't anticipate in all his plans: the spirits of the children wanting revenge. Now that they were freed from their animatronic prisons, they corner William in the safe room of the first Freddy Fazbear's restaurant, forcing him to hide out in the Golden Bonnie suit, which snaps shut, almost killing him, but not quite. Just transforms him into Springtrap. The restaurant seals the safe room and everything inside to escape liability.
The previously mentioned safe rooms are being sealed at most locations, including this one.
To me, this seems like the actions of Henry. Who else would seal a bloody, living body in a hidden room in a pizzeria? Henry seems like the best bet, but we can't know for sure. Regardless, Afton is locked back there until the year 2023 when Fazbear Fright opens. The phone dude discovers the hidden room and sets Afton, now Springtrap, loose once more. From there, we know pretty much everything else. Springtrap haunts Fazbear Fright only to have it burned down. It seems to me that this again was Henry's doing. The Ultimate Custom Night Samurai cutscenes symbolize their relationship. William Afton is the fox, and Freddy is Henry. Prayer of vengeance. The last line of dialogue in these samurai cutscenes says it best. I will pursue the fox. I will find him in whatever land he has fled to. It is my destiny, and it is his. Throughout the games, Henry is constantly trying to thwart William in escalating fashion. He starts by getting him kicked out of the FNAF 2 location. He then tries to get him arrested in the aftermath of the missing children's incident. He traps him bleeding and spring-locked in the walls of Freddy Fazbear's, and finally he sets him on fire not just once in Fazbear Fright, but the second time in Pizzeria Simulator. Meanwhile, the rebuilt Michael Afton, Michael version 2.0, searches for his dad to get some answers. He starts in Sister Location, meets Baby, but falls victim to the plot of the furious tangle of spirits held in the various Funtime animatronics. Together, they form Ennard and scoop Michael's body in an attempt to escape their prison. The scooping plan works, but Michael survives because, remember, he's a robot. Baby seems to know this based on her repeated use of...
You won't die.
Oh.
More in need of answers than ever before, Michael promises his father,
I'm going to come find you.
which leads us at last to FNAF 6. Even though the puppet tried to free the spirits of the dead children in FNAF 3, it doesn't quite work. This is because the spirits were no longer complete, with parts of their souls now trapped in the Funtime animatronics, which themselves are now in the form of molten Freddy. This is why paragraph 4 is such a big deal throughout FNAF 6. Based on the Insanity ending blueprints, paragraph 4 stipulates that all creatures containing Remnant must be in the pizzeria by the end of the week, so that when it burns, everyone goes with it. All remaining Remnant must be purged in order for the souls to finally be set free. Michael accepts the role as night guard at the simulated pizzeria. Henry summons all the animatronics there, burns it all to the ground, and finally releases everyone, including condemning William to hell. Well, he did release everyone. Golden Freddy, still a vengeful spirit, has a bone to pick with Willie, so she traps him in purgatory, forcing him to suffer for eternity at the hands of the monsters he created. And despite Old Man Consequences telling her to relax, she won't quit, hence her soul still being in Golden Freddy's twitching eyes as he fades out into the darkness, and as the series hits its final notes. I don't know about you, but between these last two videos, I think that's about as thorough as you could possibly want. So there you have it, FNAF theorists. As deep of a deep dive as I can go, trying to answer as many questions as possible, all while putting things into an order that makes sense, while also accounting for as much of the evidence as possible. Is it a perfect timeline? No, but I don't think there can be. I think Mr. Hippo's custom night lines point us in that direction.
I suppose if a person just wants to talk, then it's best to not announce that you're telling a story. Telling a story does come with its own pressures and expectations, I suppose. After all, if you're just talking to a friend, then there's no more expectations than if you were talking into the wind. Words by themselves aren't expected to carry and aren't expected to stick. But if you announce you're telling a story, well then there better be a point to it all, you know?
And conversely, at some point you just analyze down a story to the point of meaninglessness. In the end, whether this whole timeline is right or wrong, decode decoding FNAF's labyrinth of lore has been the single most exciting and enjoyable challenge I've covered on this channel.
This is the
we've
lot.
covered it. A lot. A bit more than I would have liked, quite honestly, but for good reason. Few games give their story this much thought, and even fewer games tell their stories in such a compelling, mysterious way. I've said this for a while now, but FNAF is the perfect modern game. It's cheap, if not free, so anyone can play it. The mechanics are simple, it's fun to watch other people play it.
Like right
Damn it! And it seeds in Easter eggs that get other people talking online. 4 years later, and still, only a handful of indie games and practically zero AAA games have followed in its footsteps, despite FNAF's massive success. And that, perhaps, is the single greatest and saddest mystery of them all. If this truly is the end, thanks God for an incredible ride and providing a game that has forever changed my life and this channel. But hey, that's just a theory.
FNAF 7?
Game theory. Thank you for watching every single one of these videos.
So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new to my channel, and you guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!